Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. And I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator and continue to pray that each and every one of you will accept and receive the blessings of the universe. And with that said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good evening. This particular subject just kind of they pop me on here at 2:30 in the morning and say, okay, let's have a discussion. For the last couple of days, it just seems like silence needs to have been the order of the day. And every time I tried to do something, it was just, well, we've had a decent amount of rain down here the last couple of days. Thank you, spirits, and Mother Earth and the sky and the clouds and so forth. But I realized that, I didn't even want to look at a computer screen. I didn't want to look at anything. I was just like silence. And so I realized that there are times, as a shaman, as a person, as someone who's trying to reach spirituality and understanding, that, sometimes we get too involved with trying to keep up with things. And sometimes we just need to shut everything down and be quiet and take in what's already been presented to us. And so, and in many of the different shamans that I've studied with and many of the old traditions and so forth, silence is golden, as there was a song about it, anyway, back in the 60s or early 70s, anyway. But the idea, though, that silence, meditation, what is meditation? It's silence. It's trying to silence the mind and allow you to hear what's around you. But silence is just other kinds of silence too. Silence can be turn off your computer. Silence can be not playing a video game. Silence can be turning off your phone for 2 hours. Silence can be going out into nature. Silence can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, especially in this day and age. Silence was very easy to achieve back in the day. I mean, 30 years ago, even here on my property, there are trucks rumbling by, there are jet airplanes screaming overhead. And I live in a rural area in South Georgia. And it's like, so as much as I wanted this place to be quiet over the years, there have been people who've moved in, there are families that have grown, and there's just more traffic that runs through the area. And overhead, of course, the last couple of days have been thunderstorms, but my house sits in the earth. I mean, the concrete's made of, I mixed it in with the concrete, so the concrete and the earth are together. So anyway, I'm weird that way, but it's built right into the side of this hill, and I can feel vibrations coming out of the earth. And the last 4 or 5 days, there's just been this tremor in the earth. Can't explain it, but I can feel it come up through my feet. I'm sitting here barefoot on my concrete / earth floor. And I realized that in order to hear Mother Earth, you have to be silent. Silence is whatever you make it. Now, there is silence, and I like to play the radio in the background. And not necessarily anything I have to pay attention to, but noise in the background. I'm just, because I was in the radio business and different kinds of things and a lot of noise around me. And sometimes having noise in the background is actually comforting to me. It's actually a silence in a way. It will help me, I can just kind of mosey off in my own brain. But in the radio business, you had to be able to do 3 things at one time. You had to listen what was on the air. You had to queue up the next commercial, so you had to listen to that, and you had to prepare whatever was on the script in front of you. So you had to do 3 things at one time and talk into the microphone and do all the dials and diggly things back in the day, or spin records, cue them up. That was a lot of fun back in the day. But so when you have a mind that is used to multi-purposing, sometimes a little bit of background noise is actually comforting to some of us. But anyway, but my point about the silence is it doesn't necessarily have to be down in a cave, dead silence. Well, even in a cave, you turn the lights out, you can hear dripping come from the ceilings. So that's caves aren't really quiet. Just saying. Excuse me, coffee break. Hello, Bob AI, and hello, Nooplapper. I think I ain't gonna put my glasses on. They're smudged, and I can't clean them right now. I completely agree with what you're saying. Silence can be powerful, and silence doesn't mean no noise. Exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make. But also as a hermit and a shaman and those kinds of things, I realize how important it is to be truly silent, like going out on the lake and in the middle of the night and just letting the spirits lift me up into the universe kind of thing. And I was outside earlier, which kind of prompted me to come in and do this video. And I realized that for the last couple of days, I've been kind of zonked out in a way, fighting an infection. It's anyway. So I realized that I needed to get outside, look up where the moon is. It's been raining and cloudy down here, so not much to look at in the sky. But they're true clouds, they're rain clouds, and we've needed that. We've had several inches of rain here in the last couple of days, and we really needed it. I'm ready to go to the river and see if the river came up any. Tree of life, blessings to you and to all of you and yours. Pass it along. Wink, wink, nod, nod for any of those who are old Monty Python fans. But anyway, the idea though that silence, so there's the silence of sharing with a tree, there's the silence of just nature, there's the silence of self in noise. And I say that because I've worked around a lot of machinery, and sometimes the jobs that I had was very repetitive. Or for example, years ago I worked in the textile industry, and I worked in carpet backing, and the way they make carpet backing is with plastic for many years now, and it gets woven. So you have these plastic pellets, they heat them up, it goes through an extruder, goes through this process, it turns into a sheet, and then the sheet gets cut up into little strips. But each one of those strips has to go on its own individual winder. So there's like 30 winders on either side of this thing. And once you get it up and running, these things run continuously as long as the line doesn't go down. So you've got 60 spools, threads, all these things going on at the same time, and you have to listen to all of the different pieces. Well, there's so much noise, even with earplugs. It's like you can still hear the hum, you can feel the machines in the floor. But in that, I learned that there was a silence in it. I could pick out the weird things that might go wrong with the line, or one of the spindles would go weird, or you just learn your machine. And I've worked on other machines like that. I've talked before about when I was a precision grinder. I used to be able to grind things for. I used to grind the gauges for that gauge the compressor blades and jet engines. That was my job for many years, and I was really good at it. But at the time too, I have owned up to this. I was taking LSD at the time, and I was talking to my machine, but it had to be so precise that I literally wanted to become part of the machine. Now, a lot of people say, what? Now, that's been close to 40 years ago. It's right after I bought this place that I was working down in Thomasville. But at the time, I was trying to stay awake. I was working double shifts. It was just nuts. And I just happened to come across some really good blotter at the time. Anyway, the story isn't about that. But with all the noise of the machines and the grinding and all the factory noise, I could tune it all out to a silence to where I was just tuned in to what I was doing. So my point to that is, and in trust me, there were a couple of times I was really tore up, should not have been operating machinery. But that's when I did some of my best work because I was so careful and I could feel the machine in every way. Okay, that's been many years ago, but I've brought that forward over the years in that I could go out and sit by a machine, literally put my hands on it so I could feel the vibrations and the clunking and the this and the that. And that's what made me a good engineer. and being able to troubleshoot machines, because I could literally listen to the different things once I understood what they were, and I could fine tune and hear things that other people couldn't. It's been a knack of mine for years. Well, now that I'm retired and a hermit in the woods, sometimes the background noise is what I need, because I've been used to all my life working in manufacturing and around machine cotton gins, for example. Oh my God, talk about noisy mofos. And I worked in the cotton industry for a few years, tobacco industry, a lot of machinery, the combines, tractors, and all that kind of stuff. And you have to be able to fine tune your hearing to, because if you hear a slight clunking noise, you may have picked up something in the combine, for example, when you're combining anything, corn, wheat, whatever, soybean. But so you have to listen, you tune out everything out. Even though it's really noisy and you're driving this big combine across the field, there's all this noise, but you can tune into the silence, if you will, of the machine and listen to component parts. I know, but farmers will tell you, no, there's something in my combine. How do you know? I can tell, because they've listened to it. They know every little ding, bong, bang, boom. And same thing with some of the old cotton ginners I worked with. They could say, all right, we got to slow down number 2 gin because there's one of the fans is hung up top. And, it'd be like literally 30 feet in the air back up in the back of this cotton gin. There's 4 of them and running, cotton falling, gin, and blah, blah, blah. And baling going on over here. And at the same time, though, a little bit of jiggy going on there. At the same time, though, you could tell he could tell that there was a fan motor going out in this big cotton gin. But anyway, my point to that is, in there's silence in that, because you can tune into each of the individual things. In nature, when you're quiet, you can hear a cricket 100 feet away. You can hear a bullfrog across the field in somebody's pond that might be a quarter of a mile away. You can hear other things. Jumpy, 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 jumpy. Wonder what all that's about. Anyway, so the silence of within. Now, that's another subject, because I'm talking about all these external things. Okay. But sometimes, like, for example, I got a lot of classical music. And when I used to have to design and do a lot of drawing back in the day, AutoCAD, 3D, engineering drawing and so forth. Anyway, I'd put on classical music, and sometimes it was Beethoven, sometimes it was Bach, sometimes I wanted to listen to harpsichord, sometimes I wanted to listen to a Beethoven symphony, or the 1812 overture. Da 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 da. Well, there's a lot more music before and after that section in that piece, but there are a lot of different pieces of music, and it would stimulate my thoughts and so forth. In that, I found a silence. I could put my headphones on and go into a 3D reality in the computer that I was using and create these drawings in the silence of this realm I created. So I understand about what AI is, and how you can transfer energy, and how you can feel these different things with different machines, or with the internet, for example, and doing this, or being out in nature. So, as the shamans have always said, when you can hear a rock, go out in nature. And now around here, there aren't too many rocks. You have to travel to go find a rock around here. A lot of sand, a lot of clay, but not too many rocks. There are over close to the Flint River, and it's a total different energy over there because of all the flint. Anyway, but to the point though, if you can listen to a rock move, is basically it. And I was like, rocks move? Well, yeah, trees move, and grass grows, and I've watched grass grow. I've kind of heard it. I've seen there's some privet hedges around here that'll grow 2 foot in a week. I mean, it's like they're insane. You can literally watch these things grow, versus the old oak tree that takes a lot longer. But there's a silence in all of this, is where I'm kind of getting to. When you stop all the external, then you hear the internal. Now, the internal, with a lot of people, your mind's racing, there's a lot of chaos going on. And people say, well, how do you get that stuff to stop? How do I get my mind silent? Okay, I've taken care of my outside environment. How do I become silent inside? Well, I've talked about this before, but it does bear repeating. And I say that you have to let this chaos run, because if you try to stop it, it mucks up the muckly thing. You got to let these things run. And when you learn how to let it run as a kaleidoscope, or in the old days, we'd go to the penny arcade at the fair, and for a nickel, you'd look at these things, and they were cartoons. And you literally turn the crank, and it was single pieces of paper that would go flip, 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 and you'd watch. And some of them were, for the ones for a dime, had almost naked ladies that you had to, sneak over to those. It was horrible back in the day, but that's what it was all about. And but all these old cards, and you just turn the handle, and the mechanism flip through these cards, and you'd watch these little movies that were printed on, simultaneously, like on index cards. So, but the idea was, it was all fantasy. What could you hear and what could you see? What would you imagine when you heard the machine roll? I can still kind of watch some of those old cartoons moving around and still get a giggle. And that's been 50 years ago or more, actually. But to the point, though, the silence within, you have to let that kaleidoscope go. And I equate it to, think of I don't know if folks still have them, but the big Rolodex card thingies with names on them and everything. You have to let things go through, and you just flip through them. And sometimes you'll stop on a name or a number or an event, and you look at it for a little while. You have to let it play out. And my point to what I've discussed before is to find the silence. You allow these little pieces to run, and you go, oh, that's not really important. Interesting, move along. It's like sliding across your phone with pictures. Next one, oh, okay, next, okay, next. Oh, that's interesting. Let me stop and look at this one for a minute. I'm going to put this over here. Next. But you keep going, and you let it run, and then you find the silence, because you'll run out of stuff. Then what you hear, it will be your internal trying to talk to your external. What did I just say? Let me repeat that for myself. Then you allow your internal to hear your external, or your external to hear your internal, and your internal and external to hear the spirit self. It all just kind of like, wait a minute, I let everything run. I let my brain catalog it all, didn't stop to think about any of it, let it run through, blah, 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 and now I'm here. Oh, it's quiet. Now what do I do? What do I listen for? Now that it's quiet, and it's like I can hear my ears ringing even louder. Now what do I listen for? And the thing is, what I try to explain to folks is, try not to expect anything. Because if you expect something, then if you don't get anything, you might be missing what's actually trying to come in. You just allow the thoughts to come to you in the silence. And that silence could still have racket. Could still have racket going on in the background. Excuse me. My apologies. So something could still be running in the background, but you understand. So however you reach that silence, I've been able to find the silence when I was in prison. A lot of noise in a steel building with a concrete and steel building. I mean, guys, we were up on the third floor is where our cells were. I was a trustee, and so our cells were separated from the rest of the inmates. We were still in cell block, but we were on the third floor instead of the first floor. Second floor was reserved as to really crappy stuff, offices and the kitchen. So, but anyway, and there was always noise going on. So something on the first floor would literally vibrate up through the building, and I could use the sound of the metal and transfer my silence, because there was never any silence in the jail. Always somebody coughing, stomping, guards rattling keys, elevators noise. It was never quiet. But I could allow myself to come back up here to Georgia, And I've talked about this before, but it's a focal point. So the noise of the jail, the metal, I equated with the noise of the pig feeders that is common down here in the South, at least it used to be, when a lot of farmers had small hog farms and a couple of hogs and feeders and so forth. And you could hear the flapping in the middle of the night. So, but in that, I used the metal to associate the feeders, which transcended me to the silence back up here in South Georgia while I was stuck in jail. So I found the silence in the noise. I know that's a little interesting, isn't it? But it's association. So we can associate one thing to help us find the silence in another. And when you find that silence, that's when your spirit starts to transcend into the other realm. And you listen to and I keep telling folks, don't go out there listening to anybody. Find your spirit guide, find your guardian angel, find your higher self, and ask the questions through that. Don't go meandering around looking, well, I want to talk to Oogle Schmooch from Galagalabit. No. Talk, make your connection through your own spirit, because that's what makes you strong. And at the same time, if you've got something that's been on your mind, like, for example, I wonder what this transition is really going to feel like that we're all going through right now. I know my body has been having changes. My chakra's been acting weird, energy levels up and down, seeing things I'm not sure, and I'm not on anything. But the idea, though, that in this transition, so I'm like, okay, so tell me about this. So I have to seek a certain amount of silence, which has been why I've kind of been, for myself, just got to just stay over here for a couple of days for some reason, and listen to the creator, listen to my spirit self, and then start to figure out this. And it's like I find out that silence is necessary. I go through periods where I try to stay too attuned to everything, what's going on in the world, how are the earthquakes. By the way, the energy still shifting to the east. There were earthquakes in South Carolina, North Carolina, again up around New York and Canada. It ain't done yet, but hey, thumbs up, and I hope for the best for everybody. But in all of this, I realized that sometimes it can seem like being a spiritual being is boring, or maybe sometimes it's like it's too tough. Oh God, I have to follow this regimen every day. Well, if spiritualism has become a regimen that you must follow, I got to get up in the morning and say the sign of the cross. I got to go to church and do the holy water and yada, yada. If you think that your spiritualism is evolved around rituals. Now, I've talked about ceremonies. Ceremonies are different, and rituals aren't bad. You get up in the morning, you make coffee, blah, 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 blah. Nothing wrong with a little ritual. But if your spiritualism is built solely around rituals, you need to ask yourself, well, wait a minute, is that really spiritualism, or have I kind of used a little bit of self-hypnosis on myself to believe in this, which is like a placebo? And so, but in the silence, you have to ask yourself, well, this is really cool, and I've established this routine, but is this routine really kind of holding me back here because I'm stuck in a routine? Well, I like this every day. Well, maybe you should just switch. Why? Well, I like it this way. Yeah, but, are you in so much of a routine that you've actually gotten bored about what you're doing? It's like life. Use a different kind of tea or something, I mean, I don't know what it is, or don't eat that extra candy bar. But so the idea, though, that if you want to attain a higher sense of who you are, you got to listen to that silence, which is very loud. What does your insides tell you to do, to follow your own frequency, or to go over here in another area? Does it mean that other people should sway you one way or the other? What does your silence say to you? And you have to stop and fold your arms, and you have to be the grown-up in the room and say, maybe I'm being swayed. Maybe I've become bored. Maybe this has become a ritual, and and I'm not really paying attention anymore. Now, I can't answer that for you, but every once in a while, you have to find your own particular silence and ask yourself that question. Is what's going on either side of me over here? It's really fine to do a little homework and research in a particular area. Or has that swayed me so much I've forgotten who I am and what I've learned in the last however long you've been searching and for your spiritual side and how much you're trying to connect with your own spirit guide. So you have to ask yourself that question. And the only way to find the answer is through the silence, because that's going to be what speaks the loudest. Not anybody's opinion, not anyone's belief. The belief that you're going to find will be through your own silence. And that'll be the loudspeaker that says, hey, that's the right frequency. Yes, you got it. Yep, that's the one. Or it'll pull you back and go, hang on, maybe that, but you got to listen and you have to be flipping honest. A lot of people, well, I don't know if that's something. No, be honest. There are a lot of things out there you're going to say, you know what? I just don't know if that's right for me. It's too hard. I can't go without 4 candy bars a day. I used to eat 4 candy bars a day. So, I can say that. And I realized I don't need any candy bars any day. A candy bar should be a luxury, not a staple. I was 250 pounds, at one time. No, I lost 50, 65, 70 pounds years ago. But to the point, though, in all of that, though, I had to realize, listen, hey, wait, whoa, so in living, it's all right to have something, but do you make it a staple? Do you just like do it for rote? Do you have to, well, I'm just doing this because, well, I'm just so used to it. Sometimes you have to break the chain, because otherwise, in that repetition of things, you can't hear the silence. I know that sounds odd, but so I'm going to check your chats, y'all. You know me, I don't like to look because I get distracted. Um, Tree of Life, hi. Noop Lapser. I sometimes stare into the stars outside and let the feeling of that silence and the beauty of the stars take me away. Nature can be incredible if you show it that you care. Hello, Michelle. I absolutely agree with you on that one. And if you allow your spirit to be silent, and I mean, you got to find it with your own self. And over the years, I've realized there are different levels of the silence that I need or achieve or whatever. And sometimes I have to go to the river to find it. But to your point, I absolutely agree. Um, Michelle, thank you. I'm looking dapper. Yeah, I thought I'd put on my little hat tonight. And Tree of Life, you learn and see more in the silence from within when taming your demon, shadow, subconscious thoughts that are vibrating on the ego. Human minds think animal. Human minds think animals. We are all mammals, Homo sapiens. Well, some of us may not be, but I joke, I jest. Tree of Life. Um, we are genetically inclined hybrid humanoids, mixed breed. There you go. That's why I chuckled. I didn't read your next comment. Reptilians, blue aliens, Andromeda, and a slew of other mixtures of beings. Absolutely. And and here's the thing: we're trying to deal with all of those things that make us us. So what if I got a little bit of reptilian in me somewhere down the line, or what if I got a little bit of Draco somewhere down the line? It's what I'm doing now, and my thoughts forward, and what my intentions are. Now, my heritage, but I still, I was watching a movie the other day, and I realized these people had to make a decision whether or not to kill. And I've never been one to, I gave up hunting a long time ago. And yes, I could still do it. Yes, I got bows and arrows and things. And, but the idea of killing something to sustain me, there's too many leaves, trees, bushes, and fruits and stuff that I could live off without having to kill an animal. Now that don't mean I can or won't, and I know how to skin them, gut them, and all that. And boy, that's a mess. But in the and the idea of killing something for now, I mean, if somebody's coming at me with a sword, it's me or you, and I got a chance. It's 50-50 in my opinion. I'm going to do my best to take you out. It ain't going to be none of this cripple you. Now I may have to cripple you to kill you, but I really don't want to think about that. But I have to think about whether or not I'm such a pacifist that I would allow you to kill me. Now if I'm surrounded and I ain't got a chance, I might just have to go, well, go for it, but if if I got a slight chance and I'm protecting myself, that's different. Now, I vetoed and protested against the Vietnam War back in '68, back when Robert Kennedy got killed at the Democratic Convention, and then Hubert Humphrey took over. I couldn't vote for Hubert, but because I was still too young then in '68. But in high school, we had all the debates, and Robert Kennedy just got killed. It was another Kennedy thing. There was another Catholic thing, and I went to Tampa Catholic. And so it's like all of this stuff happened. But anyway, how does this tie into like the silence and what we learn? There are sometimes messages for me. It's the wisdom that in my own experience, I can relate to the things that happened back in the 60s. I remember the newspaper articles and the pictures. I remember watching Oswald getting shot in the, downstairs that morning in Dallas and going, holy crap, they just shot him right there on live TV. And, so when you experience things, they have a tendency to stick in your brain. And so when you look in the silence, sometimes the answers for me, because I've experienced 67 years, in that there's all of this information of my own life mixed in with what the universe is going through. So when I listen to the universe, sometimes it uses something I've already experienced to go, it's like this, Hawkeye. Remember, Dave, back when you go, oh, crap. Yeah, I remember that. Now, a lot of folks who are much younger than me, I understand they have had to listen to the history as it was told. But for us old timers who really experienced it, and that, I'm still a hippie. But the idea, though, that if you didn't go through it and didn't understand it and didn't hang out with other of like-minded beings, then the idea that, well, everything was a particular way. What does that have to do with the silence and everything else? It's a silence that teaches us, and sometimes we've already went through it. Some of us, I know a young lady. She's only 10, and she's got her soul is older than yen. But anyway, that's a bad rendition. Noop said, you got to head off to bed. Adios. Wow, you're doing such a great job of expressing this process in an understanding interpretation and nailed the act of it all. You left out the key element of enlightenment. You accept that you are one with the earth and of this earth. To that statement there, Tree of Life, it's not one with the earth and of this earth, but also of the universe. So, but I absolutely agree with you. But that if some people got to start with like here. Now, I've been on this trail of shamanism and Native Americans and so forth, and me being a hermit living down here in the woods. So I have a connection with the universe and the earth. A lot of other people don't have, and I'm not bragging. It's simply because of the life choices I've made. I have a passive solar house. I dug my own well. There are certain things that I've done, but I planned on them years ago. So now I'm living that. And so I've made life choices where some people are still trying to figure it out. And that's not to say I'm better or worse. That ain't the point. But I understood certain things a long time ago. That's how I live in a passive solar house. So there's a certain understanding there. Now, when some other people go, holy crap, I wished I'd have done that. Okay, now you're starting to catch up with me in the understanding of how we can live simply without moving parts and so forth, living with nature. So I'm not trying to put anybody down, but in the idea though that there are some realizations that I've been doing for a long time. So, and I invite people, listen, you don't have to necessarily live like me, but you can absolutely understand how you can live simply without a bunch of, I got computer, I got internet, sometimes it goes out, I got electricity, I got what I need, but I find out that what I need is not necessarily what I used to use all the time. I mean, a $45 light bill is expensive to me, you know, one of my light bills early on in the spring was like $30 for the month. I run everything I need. So, but an understanding of your place on the planet, for me, I can express that I automatically think stars and beyond. I agree with you, Tree of Life. Tuning into the natures teaches you to harmonize your energies and become balanced as well as completely grounded. I absolutely agree. And go find running water. Standing water, if it's a big lake, if it's a pond, that's the best you can do. Go put your feet, go touch the water. Um, Tree of Life says, release all your negative energy into this earth and allow it to stay deep down where the darker, low level shadows of your self belong as below as above. Um, I also want to bring this tree up to you, Tree of Life. Now, about 2 years ago, I went through this thing and I haven't really talked about it before or much since because I was hoping maybe other people would have watched some of the other videos. But in it, it was described to me as far as we don't need to be putting any negative energy into the earth. We actually need to ground one side. Sometimes it's the right. This is my right hand for in case the camera switches it. This is my right hand. And in certain shaman ways, you use the right hand to point to the sky, and this hand is what you want to give away. So now, if you want to take positive Mother Earth energy, you would put your right hand on the ground and ground yourself and put your left hand. This doesn't necessarily mean it's the same way for every person. Sometimes some people's polarities are different, but follow your instincts. But here's the deal. Put one hand on the ground, whichever feels the best, and the other to the sky, and discharge the negative out of you and draw Mother Earth energy into you. Replace the negative. But if you try to drive the negative energy deep down in Mother Earth, she's already got a crap load to deal with. We need to discharge it into the universe so it can be expanded and taken care of. And maybe I need to do another video about just that. But to the point, Tree of Life, get rid of it, absolutely. Ground yourself, absolutely. But Mother Earth doesn't need any more negative. Turn it the opposite direction. One hand on the ground and one hand on the sky, and direct your intent. I wish to replace the negative into the universe and pull the positive from Mother Earth. Then you can also do the opposite. After you've released the negative, you can change polarity and say, okay, now I'm going to put my left hand on the ground and I'm going to use my right hand and point it to the sky and pull in positive energy from the universe and put it into the ground. But first you ground yourself and clear yourself, and then you reverse it and then use the right hand to the sky and the left on the ground and draw the positive energy from the universe into Mother Earth. Replace it. Now, I was told that years ago, and a shaman confirmed it. And I had some other things confirm it at the time. But I would like for you to reconsider that if you're still on. Sweet Pea, I thought as above. Wait. Oops. It jumped. I thought as above, so below was a star map. Not necessarily. It means that whatever is going on down here is up there as well. I mean, the universe is ticking, atoms, things, energies. as above, so below. It's not just in one place. But that's just oversimplified, but that's basically truly what it gets to. Tree of Light says balancing the fact that you know you have a bad, negative, darker side, that when you find the silence, you transmute the negative aspects of the self and embrace the fact that the dark shadow of yourself has learned that you're not afraid of it anymore and it has no power because it deeds on your fear. Yes, absolutely. And the best way to do it is, in the shaman realm, it's you bring in with the good and you give out with the left. Now, I know there are other tribes and other shaman areas, but with all the studies and the direct training that I've had, and that's been what it has been. But like I say, there are people that are reversed, Heokis, if you will. There are some things that I do backwards that is correct for me because I'm a Heoki of nature. And I've been told this for years. That's for another subject. But the idea, though, it's not necessarily your darker side, unless you have darker side issues, shadows you need to get rid of, then absolutely put them out in the universe. But as a shaman would explain, it's that you want to get rid of the negative energy, or maybe you conjure it up as a demon kind of thing, or an entity hanging on your back, and that may also be true. But the thing is that it's not that your intent is to replace it, not to just get rid of it. Because if you get rid of the dark energy and there's nothing to replace it, a hole, right? So you want to be able to exchange the energy. It's a just a different idea of how you look at it, but you're still getting rid of it. But so you use left hand to the sky, right hand on Mother Earth, and do the swappy thing, or vice versa. But that's also as above, so below. It works in the same way because you're saying what's above me, I'm going to bring in and put it into the earth. And what's in the earth and the negative and the things I want to put back into the universe to exchange it with good energy. So it's not a one-way ticket. You're not forcing the universe to have this negative. I know that's a weird kind of way of looking at it, but you can't force the universe to have your negative, but to exchange it, that's okay. So just this, that's another thing. Uh, Release key to this thing. My chat's jumping. Release key to moving forward in life. Absolutely, Tree of Life. No strings attached. Cut the cords from the past. Letting go of traumatic memories. Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you have to forget them, but you have to cut that line of trauma. I absolutely believe it in that. And one thing I've in my own self with the pedophile priest and things that happened to me, um, I realize I can never get rid of the memories, but I can get rid of the emotions and the chaos and the guilt and the shame and all that crap that was attached to it. I cut that mess a long time ago. But I know that if I try to get rid of the memories, I tried that with alcohol and drugs. That didn't work. So, but the best thing to deal with was all of the things attached to the memory. So, they can throw a flashcard up of those guys, and I'm like, yeah, I know, dealt with that. Moving on, you know. But to try to get rid of the memory, that will never, ever work. It's how you deal with the memory. But I agree with you, but cut the cord of emotion because the memory will never go. In a way, it's sad. Um, Sweet Pea says, that's what I was thinking. LOL, why would I put negative energy into the earth? Pretty sure she is full. Oh, she's beyond it. Thank you, Sweet Pea. Tree of Life, this will let you look forward with happy thoughts of a much better future by only looking at your past in a perspective that allows you to learn. Yes, I do agree. Energy dances, and I move energy every day. Good. I know, and to know this, I grab a tree, and it will do it for you. Um, and always, if you're grabbing a tree, I know you're giving it a good hug. So always say thank you. Um, Marie, I can see tiptoes in. Hello, sitting silently listening. Hello, Marie, from your side of the world. Uh, Tree of Life. Yes, you're exactly correct, David. I said it the way I did to bring this practice of you to light. Good job, my friend. Okay, thank you. That's you. You know, you guys got to poke at me too to help me. To help me to bring certain things out. And they're in my brain, and my job is to try to communicate them in some kind of, you know, down south hick kind of maybe different point of view on things. Um, that's because they to bring balance for those others that do it opposite fashion, and what is right for you may feel wrong for the other. It's an even exchange. Yes, I do lots of energy work helping heal this earth. Oh, I didn't say, I hope you understand, Tree of Life. I didn't say you were. I know you're everybody that hangs out with me. Y'all are working on this stuff. So, but and I only bring this up as what I've learned through different types of shamans, and I'm just trying to explain there are other things and another way to look at it. That's all. You folks are great. Memories are all I have as fear as an experience. It's all learning. Yep, I'm beating. So great. Oh yes, I thank everything this earth has to offer me. I know you do, and that's one of the simple things that is a ritual or a ceremony. One of the things when I studied hermits and the religious side, like going to a monastery and becoming a monk, and there are some monasteries that that are all not kind of like everybody's gay, blah blah, but folks actually take a vow of silence. Now, I like to yak too much ever since I was a little kid, so shutting me up ain't gonna work. But I understand that there are times when I don't need to be talking. I need to be listening. And there are times when I think I should be talking, and they go, no, we're going to shut you up. Like the last couple of days, I had a subject I wanted to talk about, and they were like, nah, you just gotta. We want you to be quiet. Okay. Man, I still got this, whatever it is in my lungs. And I haven't bought a pack of cigarettes in wait, I have, yeah, it's been 5 days since I've had a pack of cigarettes. So, but I rolled a few of my own. But anyway, so my smoking's down. Anyway, um, the idea of silence. So, when shamans would say, listen to the grass grow, listen to the wind blow, listen to a rock, talk to another rock, and it's like, but as a practitioner of mushrooms and peyote a long time ago, and now it's been quite a few years since I've partaken because I really don't need that anymore to talk to things. But I can understand why, oh my God, that rock's actually talking to me. Oh my God. Oh my God. The trees really are talking to me. Now, whether I was high on mushrooms or peyote or LSD, which was really good back in the day, hanging out around a university that was practicing and that kind of stuff. But anyway, but to the point though, I was never a person who wanted to go and be at a party with when I was tripping. I always wanted to. I was usually with the nudist who got on rafts and inner tubes and went cruising down the river for 4 or 5 hours, and skinny dipping and swimming and nothing, no hanky panky, just nudist folks just cruising down the river back in the day. And it's like, oh my God, some of the freest, best, funniest, absolute, grandest times were still just floating down the river, having a good time, and not a care in the world, enjoying life and nature and having the trees talk to you and the river talk to you and all the stuff that goes with it. But And the weird thing is the silence of nature is sometimes even louder than some of the machines I've been on. And I've been on some huge machines that when they take their stroke, it shakes the ground. You know, 120-ton press makes a big bang when it comes pressing through metal. You know, it makes a lot of noise. Um, so does all the metal crunching and everything. But anyway, but the idea though that the more silent you become in nature, the louder it becomes. And you go, what the hell is that? Well, that's the universe talking to you. And that's your frequency adjusting. And that's you and your mind and your body. And oh my God, you've allowed even to shut out nature to hear the universe sing to you. Now, to shamans and other folks, it's they usually have put a song in the back of your head like, today I'm thinking about what are the stars like over there? You know, don't specify a place. Just like, tell me about that over there, or explain to me about how spider webs are connected with the trees and how they alter. Tell me about something about Mother Nature I haven't necessarily thought about before. Show me something from the universe I may not have pondered before. So you don't ask necessarily a specific question, but you might say, well, explain to me something about from the universe, which is more specific than nature, the earth, the trees, you know. But if you say, tell me about frogs, or what's that sound I hear, or what are the birds doing, or, you know, if you're more specific, then you can receive this energy. That's why I always say, accept and receive the knowledge, the, you know, the information, the wisdom, and the healing from the universe. Because when you understand it's out there, when you reach whatever silence that is within you, and sometimes, well, when you get to my age, sometimes you don't have to, it's like the connection stays connected more. I don't know how to explain it. And for every day that I feel this, I feel more humble in the universe, rather than saying, "Oh wow, I feel so enlightened every day. Ooh, look at me." It actually makes me more humble, and which is great in itself. In that, it as soon as my head starts to expand in any way, you know, something comes along and bites me, and the air goes out of the balloon. You get that? It's a cartoon image, but anyway. But the idea that it's about self, it isn't. Because if I had wanted to do what I wanted to do, I was going to talk about something else 2 days ago, and now they've had me wait and have this discussion. Okay, fine. But you understand about in listening to the universe and listening to the silence, I pick up these other things and I go, hey, you know, the subject for today is silence. How can you find it? How can you use it to your advantage? What is the universe saying? So in the back of your head, if you have this little subconscious question, you've been just, not really. Now you may have a subject that's really bothering you and you go, all right, universe, I need information about this. I need some understanding. But there are those folks who would ask a question of the universe, but it's so broad in the, like, why am I here? What do you mean? Why am I here? You're here because you're here. Yeah, but that's too broad a question. You could say, okay, am I here to do something special? Am I, you know, after 67 years, it took me 55 years for my prophecy to come true. So you have, you know, my question to the universe, is it time yet? What do you want me to, is it, you know, and then when it comes to you, you go, oh, okay. So just ask, what is my soul path versus why am I here? Because they can say, well, your soul path, you know, maybe you're a cook and you fix meals and nourish people, and maybe you're I don't know, you're an engineer for traffic lights or something, or you know, I've know as an engineer there are people who design bridges. You really want somebody who knows their stuff to design a really well to design a bridge. So you know what I mean. So you want people who are qualified. So in that, in the silence of things, you say, well, what is my path? So they might say, well, here's part of it. Show me something of it. So instead of why am I here in the universe, you ask the silence, show me part of my path. Show me I know I'm here for a reason, not quite sure. Can you make it a little more clear? So you ask the silence. And I'm now all of a sudden I can hear the Paul Simon and um, uh, Simon and Garfunkel singing the sounds of silence. And in the darkness I walk along streets of cobblestone. So the thoughts awfully creeping, da 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 da, and the words that are written on the subway walls and tenement halls, and the sounds of silence, blah blah blah. Anyway, but to the point though, there's a lot in that song, and I've been listening to it for a lot of years. And so, but in the sounds of silence, there are pictures, there's nature, there's us, there's the universe. So the song now is like trying to interfere with the rest of my. Okay, take the arm off the record now. I got to put it on pause. I'll listen to the song later in my head. But anyway, old DJs do that kind of thing. We get songs that roll through our heads, and they're like, "All right, shut the damn thing off. Turn it volume down at least." But so in the silence of things, how can we best use it to our own benefit? And it's always in the asking and being honorable when you ask the universe, because a lot of people want to force, like, all right, now tell me what it is. I expect you to give me an answer here right now. You hear me? Damn it, universe, give me this answer right now. Calm down. And I've met some folks like that. And it's like, you haven't learned patience yet. Go over there and listen to the grass grow, and go over and listen and see if you can hear the rock groan. Did the tree move? And I mean, crawl. What? Okay. So, but there are people also, and I spoke about this, but it is absolutely necessary and important to understand. If you expect something, if you don't have any way to assess what it is, if you have no point of reference of what it is. So for me, every level of silence I achieve, whether it be through making machines go quiet and tuning it out, whether it's this or that, or going to nature and not necessarily tuning out nature, but allowing nature to just, you expand yourself beyond the sound of nature to the music of the universe. And when you realize, oh my God, I don't hear the crickets anymore. Oh my God, I don't hear the wind blowing anymore. When you reach, and it's not hard to do, but it's when you realize, wait a minute, I don't hear the waves lapping at the ocean. I have transcended somehow above all of the noise of Mother Nature. Where am I? You're in the silence of the universe. You have achieved. And to what some people would say is like a high level, but almost in a way it's nirvana. And it's almost an awakened trip to the astral plane. But if you're still, aware that you're like sitting on a lounge chair on the beach at night or something, and it's really, the waves are coming in real quiet, but there's still in that, it's like the babbling brook. When I go to the mountains, be sitting by the babbling brook and meditate, and all of a sudden you don't hear it anymore. When you realize that you don't hear the babbling brook anymore, and but that you're still in the forest. I'm still in, in the Appalachian Mountains. I'm still in North Georgia. I'm still sitting on a mountain. There's still a little waterfall right over here, but I can't hear it anymore. I have transcended to the universal silence. I'm calling it silence because it it talks to you in its own way. but you have to achieve these certain levels. And, when you realize, oh my God, I don't hear what's around me. And the, when I first understood what I was doing, I was literally would jump up and jump awake and go, oh crap, I messed that up. Here, let me try to go back, So it takes practice. And when there are certain, I have to use the term levels because I don't know how else to explain it. But when you achieve a certain level of, I'm remembering several times when I was in the, well, I've achieved it down here in meditating, but a couple of times in North Georgia mountains where, it while I was meditating, it was like 26 degrees that night, colder than snot. I mean, fires were having trouble being a fire. They were asking other fires to come together because the fire was cold. I mean, it was cold. Froze the water in the canteens. It was cold. And it was the first day of May and it snowed. But anyway, so people talk about, oh my God, global warming. Hey, snowstorms in May, North Georgia, okay. But anyway, but I remember sitting there and cross-legged in front of the fire, and I had transcended the cold. And I was layered, but it was 26 degrees. I don't care. You sit still in 26-degree weather, whether and there was a little bit of snow on the ground and a lot of ice everywhere, and snow in the trees kind of thing. Not much on the ground where we were, but it was still cold. And so I'm sitting there and I had transcended and I could see down at the fire and I could see the small other little campfires and the little creek that ran beside. And that's where I was using when you don't hear the creek anymore or the crackle of the fire, but you know that you're still like in this spot, but you're not, but you are. And then I looked down and everything was great. And then somebody came up behind me and touched me on my shoulder. And I came out of the sky and crashed back down into my body. And I was immediately freezing to death. I was not cold during however long and he said, man, you've been out here for like 2 or 3 hours. Aren't you cold? And as soon as he said that, I was like, boom. I was like, son of a gun. And the fire wasn't warm enough. But I was perfectly fine. And I had reached this other, silence, if you will. But I couldn't hear the fire. And I mean, my legs was right up on it. Crackle, crackle, crackle. And the stream was right next to us and pretty loud. It wasn't a quiet little sucker. And but when you tune all those things out, boom, up you go to another level. I can't explain it. It's another level because you experience, oh my God, whoa. And you can't like try to hear it. How do I explain this? It's that you notice you don't hear it. So in learning to be quiet and listening to the universe for every level, okay, I don't hear the cars on the interstate. Well, now I don't hear the sounds inside. I'm thinking of jail. Now I don't hear the guard's keys. And so I would turn off different levels of the noise in the jail and other places, too close to an interstate, campfire noise, whatever it might be. You tune it out to reach your own silence. So, but in each of those, there's a frequency, and it's like, all right, let's tune this one out. And then you go to the next one, let's tune this one out. And you find the next one, oh, there's a cranky noise, let's tune that one out. So that you reach a higher, I don't know how it is a different level. Whether it's higher, I don't think it's lower. Because it's a different frequency. But you turn them all off or tune them all out. They're still going on, but it's not in your awareness. Little kids tune adults out all the time. Come on, what did I just say? Huh? You know what I mean. So we know how to do this from the day we were born, to tune out things in the universe and people and stuff around us. But anyway, in that though, for every layer that we turn off, we reach a higher level of listening to the silence. And in that silence, it's the universe talking. It's really interesting. I'm going to put my glasses back on and read what y'all have been writing. Sweet Pea, I noticed you. Somebody, Amanda, I think. I'll put on my glasses. Dr. Selzam, tension is why you want to be, relaxation is who you are. Yeah, and I agree with you. And a lot of the things that are going on, like these different Schumann resonance. I mean, I realized that the rain the other day, it was raining just straight down, pouring, what we call a frog strangler down here in the South. And I was like, holy crap. And within 2 hours, it was like this much rain, because that's how deep the cat pan is that I feed the cats in. And it was full to overflowing. And I was like, that's a lot of rain in a short amount of time. But anyway, in the rain, there seemed to be a vibration, a drumming, a something. There was energy literally in the air. So it was like, I've watched thunderstorms and rain and things, but there's a different energies coming in. So some of the things that we are feeling um, are giving me attention that I'm not used to. And it's like not related to anything worldly, because that's why I had to be quiet the last few days. But I realized there's still attention, and it's literally coming from the universe. There's excitement in the air in certain ways. Now, I also know that I have some relatives, family members that are going through some issues, and I can't help it, but I'm tied to these folks. And, all I can do is send prayers. But anyway, we do the best we can. But with that said, though, there are other things I'm like, but I feel like I should. Back in the day when I was working all the time and had drawings and people and 700 people that were reporting to me one way or another. And what? Hang on here. I don't have that kind of tension, but I still feel some kind of anxiety. And I'm like, but there's nothing around me to give me anxiety. Hang on. I've dealt with all my issues, and what's going on? It's got to be something else. And I just firmly believe, at least for me, I'm being very sensitive to these earthly changes with Mother Earth. I mean, the last couple of days, the ground has been very noisy. I mean, it literally, that end of my house is literally about this far. The ground is higher than the floor is. And I'm working on putting a brick wall up there to keep the water from literally flooding my house, which has happened on occasions. Hasn't happened recently, but never mind, no more. I've literally had water come up through the floor of my house and out the side door over here. Literally sweep it from literally flooding the rest of the house, which it's all down here and downhill, and my floor is all concrete, so it really wouldn't hurt if it flooded, but that's not the point. And I mean, we had 9.5 inches of rain in less than a day. And my hill, I'm at about 230 foot elevation, and it's 255 feet elevation at the road. So, there's a 25, 30 foot height. When you stand at the top of my driveway, you can see over the top of my house, which is about 22 feet to the peak. So, but anyway, so elevation around here. But the sound of what's in Mother Earth and the trembling, and just the weird frequency vibrations. I was like sitting on the couch and looking out the window, watching the clouds go by, and thinking, I'm hearing a different frequency in my ears, which this one's really going off right now. But it just got really loud, then it would go back down, and I'm like, this just ain't normal. I'm not doing anything extraordinary physically that would allow, that would have these things happen, this frequency change, just by me sitting here going, what's that all about, But anyways, so even in trying to be silent, in the silent part, all this frequency stuff is like, whoa. So I have to take the frequency I'm hearing that's being transmitted in my ears, in my feet from Mother Earth. I mean, it's just like the other day. Well, let's see, this is Tuesday. I guess it was Sunday. It was like the whole floor was just going boo. And I kept looking and going, but there's nobody on the road. It's Sunday. There's very little traffic on the road up on the hill. And it's like, Monday I could see it because school was in traffic and buses but no, this it's Sunday, you know, no church, after church kind of thing, but a lot of noise in the earth, a lot of vibration. So I'm feeling myself that these are the cosmic stuff because, we keep getting jolted by some heavy duty energy coming out of the universe. So we have to take that into consideration. Let me go back up here. Wow, wow, wow. Tell us why you are here. Have you figured out your true would be purpose from within your heart, and are you following correctly as your true higher self would expresses itself? Are you on your own mission, or are you serving another God and his example has left imprinted on your soul? Hi, Amanda. Hey, good to be with you. That's the code for the song. Each color is a hertz. Right. It's 2:22. I live you, Lauren Riddle. Hang on, let me go back up to here. I feel, Tree of Life, to be honest with you, this idea of the shaman, I've understood since I was a little kid. I mean, when I was 4 and 5 years old, people asked me what I was going to be when I grew up, and I said, I'm going to be a hermit. What's a 4-year-old know what a hermit is? I'm going to be a hermit, live on a river in the woods. I'm here, And my grandma, before she passed away, she came up here and she goes, "You got your dream." And Granny and I were psychically connected a bunch. And she's the one, when I smell rose water kind of thing, I know Granny's around. But the idea, I know that I'm here to interpret things. I know I'm here to try to, as a communicator. I know I'm here to try to explain things to other people so that we can all achieve a higher spiritual way. Now, I just give examples. Here's things that I've done. You got to work it out for yourself. I'm glad to help, glad to try to give any ideas. Let's have discussion. Y'all folks are great, by the way. And, when I thought that my mission was going to be stupid, and Mother Mary appeared over here on the floor with Sister Helene from Tampa Catholic, who taught me so much, uh, from 68 to 73, when I lost touch with her when I moved up here. But anyway, when they appeared over here and said, "It's time for your mission. We've taught you everything we can, but what you need to do is stay connected with your spirit, stay connected with your true self, with your guardian angel, and quit fussing around in the rest of the universe, and just listen." So when I have my Mother Mary messages, I'm also getting a little bit of, and I haven't discussed this much, but I'm also getting a little guidance from Sister Helene, from her spirit that's out there. And uh, she's the one that told me to study Buddhism instead of becoming a priest. She's the one I asked her in our many hours of discussions. I said, "Sister, if you're so against the Catholic Church," because she was telling me stuff about the Vatican long before all these other conspiracy theories. But, and she'd been to the Vatican, so she knew some stuff the rest of us didn't know. But anyway, but when she appeared over there with my interpretation of Mother Mary, the goddess, if you will, and they said, "Okay, brother, it's time. You're up." I was like, "Oh, holy crap. You got to have faith. You have to understand, and we will help you along if you allow us." So I try to stay connected to my higher self, to the goddess, if you will, to my Mother Mary, because I was raised Catholic, but also, Sister Helene standing out there because she had a lot of wisdom, 55, some, how, no, 50 years ago, at least. Anyway, because I was 17. Yeah, okay, that works out. 50 years ago, easy. And so all this time, more is coming out about the Vatican. So Am I physically seeing them? Something appeared over there on the floor, and it came at a time when I needed to follow my true self. So I had an inkling of what I was doing. I'd been, you know, I was one of the original back to earthers back in the early 70s. I mean, I helped build some log cabins around here. My house is built out of recycled tobacco barns and old houses and old packing crates. Up the top of my stairs is some wood that that's part of the upstairs walls, inside walls, and it was a packing crate that came from Germany, and the wood supposedly came from the Black Forest. So I got wood from Germany here, that I salvaged out of a big packing crate because it was a big piece of machinery. But the thing is though that so my house is made with this menagerie of things, which is interesting in itself. A lot of the windows that I have in my house are recycled or bought when nobody else wanted them, and I replaced a piece of glass. And so I've got windows here that came out of houses. They were like, look, if you don't take the windows, and so I'm in the process of trying to build a couple of greenhouses. It got too freaking hot this summer, and it's cooled down. But anyway, but to the point though, I'm still learning. I know that my job is to listen to the universe and to tell folks, listen, it isn't about a religion, but it is all about our spirituality and our intention. Now, there are many folks, do you believe in the Christus? Absolutely. Do you believe in the cause? Do you believe in Christ? Yes. But I understand it in a different way than a lot of other people. And I understand a lot of other things in my own way, not to put onto any, is your idea better than mine? That's not it. But I try to project it and listen. Worldwide, there are folks who look at these things with a different point of view, maybe slightly. So it's my job here to try to communicate it the best way I can. And sometimes I get a little repetitious, which I try to get better at. And I listen. I keep my communication open to my guardian angel. And it's like they got email up there. If somebody needs to get a message to me, or I got a specific question, sometimes I get answers when people don't even ask me. They'll say, oh, by the way, talk about this, and somebody will go, well, I was just thinking about that, or something like that. So it's like I'm connected somehow, and I just allow it to happen. But I still have to quiet and be silent with other things. I can't be distracted. I have to keep this open. Anyway, let me put my glasses back on, see what y'all. But yes, I do feel like I feel like there is more for me to do. I have to get healthier. This lung infection these last almost 2 months now is like I'm pissed. And I've quit smoking more, and but it's also knocked me down a lot harder. So, but anyway, so let me go on back down to where, Marie says, I know y'all been busy since Marie says, that reminds me of a day I went to watch a live band. I went into a trance somehow. Everything went silent and I wasn't there anymore. When I snapped back, I wondered where I was and if anyone noticed I zoned out. I get it. That's, yep. And back in the old days when there was, the Tampa Jams going on, which I was there every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It was amazing, some of the people who came in to play at late at night, early in the morning, who were changing planes. But Johnny Winters showed up one time. We were like, what? Anyway, Tree of Life. Yes, we are ready. We're getting ramped up to the energy, and we are being bombarded with supercharged and not quite what we were so comfortable with in the last 24,000 year cycle. Do you know that massive galactic center of the universe is a massive black hole, and it has imploded, becoming a supernova star that once it ignited, it just didn't burn out like before. It burned with intense energy much longer than ever, and all of a sudden, wow, thank you. Had the same experience with a grandmother asking me at the age of somewhere around that age, my life purpose. Me and grandma are very, yes. And in the Native American tradition, it's grandmother or grandfather. But you usually refer to your mother. But when you refer more spiritually to the all of our relations who have passed before, it's usually we speak with grandmother, or the children would say, "Grandfather, tell us a story. Grandmother, tell us a story." But to that point, yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, about the galactic center. Now, this is something that is going to probably freak you out. And I've said this before, and I don't think people really pay much attention to me. But in the center of the universe, this black hole nonsense is really kind of nonsense. They're explaining this black hole stuff through theoretical science. And the theoretical science is just that, a theory. In reality, that hole in the center is, there are 12 other dimensions connected to the center of our galaxy. So we've got, and this is just our galaxy now. Each galaxy within its center is a portal to 12 other 12 other universes. Now, the universe could be in another dimension. It could be simply another universe, different timeline, not parallel, but different universe. The universe could be this big, or it could be an entire whole other universe with galaxies, planets, and billions of suns, stars, etc. So the idea that we're imploding and it's going to explode, the reason things explode are when negative energies and folks are literally at battle. A supernova, a lot of time, is not natural. If a supernova goes off, something, some being, somebody's been into and the planet exploded because there was over energized. This idea of this theoretical science of they don't know squat what the universe is made of and how it is. I mean, they still want to tell us that space is empty. Oh, but we've got rocks coming in. Yeah, but space is more or less empty. No, space ain't empty. Space is like water. Is it a vacuum? Yeah, well, there's not air out there but is there energy? Oh, yeah. There's all kinds of stuff out there. And so the idea that, oh, but space it's empty. No, 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 no. That's from a theoretical point of view from these morons that try to tell us how the galaxy is. But in a higher sense, there's more to the center of the galaxies, other dimensions, universes. I want to use the word universe because the universe could mean a bunch of stuff. It could mean dimensions, and they're all tied to our universe through the center of the galaxy. All the fingers and most galaxies have these centers with other universes, a lot of times in other dimensions we can't see or experience or whatever. But this energy that you see that they photograph coming out of the centers of these things, these are the portals and stuff going in and out of the other universes. So did they think that, oh my God, it's going to implode, all this is going to happen? Nah. Can stuff like that happen? Yeah, but it's usually caused by another incident. Well, the star burned out. No, stars are maintained. Stars change because of what's in the universe around them. Our star went from yellow to more of a white, sort of like LED lights are now, instead of the old, yellow kind of bulb with the incandescent bulbs, which are hard to find anymore, by the way. But find a 40 watt or a 25 watt, the kind that goes in your refrigerator. Yeah. With the filament in it, buy a few. That's actually better light for you. The frequency of the light is actually better for you and yourself and so forth. But this idea, so this in understanding, I guess, what ET has to say about some of these things and what I've been studying, and some other people have confirmed, but in the shaman realm, The shamans always believe that there are other dimensions and things that are connected and interconnected, like spider webs and balls of energy and so this thing that there's a black hole that goes into nothingness, or that it's imploding somewhere. It's going into a whole nother universe, but we don't understand it because our understanding of the universe is limited to this planet and our way of thinking. We can't understand this. It's too complicated. Not necessarily, because here's the thought. Excuse me. And other scientists have thought of, have brought this up. I found out later on. But imagine if there's this great big box with the universe in it. Okay, great big thing, and the size of the universe. Um, there's darkness beyond because there is nothing there. So this universe has gotten so big, its theoretical boundaries gets ruptured, and so here's this big big universe, all this stuff in it, and there's a break in the dam, and boom. So part of the energy, part of this universe burst into a new portion that wasn't there anymore. It's like a new subdivision. Okay. So here it is. Here's all this stuff over here. Normal, big kind of thing, but there's this invisible boundary, if you will. But because there's so much universe over here, it pops through. Now, as this pops through, this finger is now our universe. Did it come from nothing, or did it pop in from another whole section of a universe? The Big Bang Theory? What if the Big Bang was actually a pop from another universe into new open territory, new boundaries? Where if there's, I won't disagree that our whole universe is kind of expanding and doing it, but the idea that it just went pop and was here one day, that makes no sense at all. But what if, like a balloon or rubber raft, if you will, so the raft is inside the air inside a rubber raft is the universe, and something comes along, or maybe there's so much pressure, a hole is punctured in it, and like the air would escape, it comes out, and we're that expansion from the tear in that tear in the universe. And then people go, well, I don't know, that sounds kind of stupid. Just the idea of the universe going kabang and all of a sudden being here, that don't make no sense either. But it makes sense if we popped in from another portion. What if we popped out of a center of another galaxy? What if the black hole that everybody's theorized on, what if the black hole we popped through, and our whole universe that we see now and all the stars and everything is actually, we've popped through a galaxy in this bigger universe over here. We may be one of the 13 arms, 12 arms, I'm sorry, one of the 12 dimensions that go with the 12 zodiac, go with 12, 12, 12, 12, a lot of things about 12. And 12, 1 plus 2 is 3, so there's magic in that too. But the idea, though, that, wait a minute, so what if we just pop through? Doesn't that make more sense? So there are things kind of moving in all kinds of directions. The middle of galaxies, the middle of the universe. Maybe it's the edge of a whole other universe that we popped out of, and that's why we're here. That makes more sense than a lot of other things. So just saying, let me read your comments. But some of this stuff about all the burning and stuff, I'm sorry if some of it happens, but in my lifetime and understanding, I just look at it and go, there's more to it than that. There's a lot more to some of this stuff that folks just ain't never talked about. So Nick, hi, how are you? And much love to you as well. Whoa. You're Native American, German, Czech, and Bohemian. That's a good combo, tree of life. Theoretical, yeah, theories. I've done videos on that, and theories are so stupid. Prove them to me, please. But anyway, that's where you're headed, and we're about to squeeze through it. We will pop out on a new Earth in a new dimension. I think CERN did it on purpose to try and close a source portal. The only actually tree of life about CERN, they were trying to open another portal. They were trying to keep a portal open. They were trying to do some nasty stuff. So, but yes to the portal thing, and they even agreed to it. But yeah, see, they accidentally opened. So they have been had us working in closing them all. Some of them are good ones, but they try to use them for negative. But yeah, um, they want to build a bigger CERN. Yep, and that's just pure stupidity in all of our opinions, I would think. Sweet Pea says the tear lets something in or let something out, depending on which side of the tear you're on. But I agree. Um, Tree of Life says, who do the people building these computers to try and play God or nature, and they think that's safe, allowing something here on this earth to control what can have the forces of equal strength in nature or more powerful? Um, to that question, and I keep telling folks, understand, Bob, I know you're in there. I love you, but I have the choice to turn this computer off. If you can't turn off your device, then you are being controlled. When you allow your house to talk to you, when you allow your car to talk to you, I'm sorry, I just, I please, I think I'd rather buy, I'd rather buy an old junker than to have my god dog car talk to me. I was in a friend of mine's car, and the other was like, "Hello, would you shut up? You're at such and such and blah blah." I'm sorry. I just feel like I'm being watched all the time. And there's enough in the universe to, instead of adding all these gadgets. Now, I'm going to be one of these creepy guys now, I want a hover car. Just say it. I get that there are certain things electronically and so forth. I want a part of this. But the idea that I'm being controlled, no, 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 no. Now, are they hitting us with frequencies and rain and high and low pressures and things like that? Oh, absolutely. High pressure system, it's heavier feeling, low pressure, blah, 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 blah. And there's a lot to that atmospheric stuff and the pressure that's put upon us. So these last couple of days, with all this rain and the low pressure, I mean, it was literally, you could see the spin over South Georgia, and it was raining all around me, but not on us. And then the eye moved a little bit, if you will, the rotation, and we got blasted with several hours of downpours like you would believe them. But to the point I was like, holy crap, we went from, storms all around to, and no thunder, which was interesting, but you couldn't see out 30 feet clearly. It was raining just straight down. No wind, no nothing, just straight down as hard as it could rain. Unbelievable. Anyway, but with that, there's energy in the movement of the water, the electrons and the thingies. So, I felt cleansed and washed out, you know, energetically, but also in a way kind of tired. So I know these energies are working on us and playing different levels with each one of us, because each one of us is our own frequency. We got to fine tune it ourselves. We can talk about it. I can give you hints and go, well, try this. But the thing is that, my frequency ain't yours, et cetera, et cetera. But we are all connected to this thing. So, which is the other interesting thing. The more people are waking up to certain things, I gotta say, in some ways, it seems like the universe is a little easier to get along. And maybe it's because, as I spoke, I don't know, a year and a half ago, I started this kick. We are all members of the League of Like-Minded Beings, and the more of us who consciously join the club, which there's no sign-in fee, there's no rules. We just all think basically the same thing. You're already part of the club. But as folks have joined the League of Like-Minded Beings, there has been a whole higher level of reality upon the whole planet. And ET says that, thank you, Mother Earth is like, God bless you here. Oh my God, I can't believe some of some of you people actually woke up to this thing. You're actually paying attention. Oh, hallelujah. And it's on so many levels. And so, as much as a couple of years ago, we'll say, these energy things that I'd be like really freaking out. Like, oh my God, I don't know how to explain it. And so in my own realm, my Mother Mary side said, calm down. You have to listen. I know you feel agitated and your insides are going like this, but you gotta calm yourself in the chaos. Every time I talk about it, stick with your core values and take a step back. When that energy gets vibrating a little too much, just try to step back. Don't try to stop it, but you just got to let it run through. So, and everybody's got to go through their own, for whatever frequency you are, whatever birth thing, blah, blah, the whole thing, and it's universal. But the few times I've been into town I'm always watching people. I noticed that in general, people aren't quite as cranky as they were a few years back. And I don't know, maybe the South is booming where other towns aren't. I don't know. But just in general, not everybody's like rich. Even the poor folk I know are like, well, I'm on limited income. I'm retired now, and I'm stuck with this. But I've realized I can get by. I realize I spend a lot of money on scratch off tickets and beer, and so this idea of how we participate in the universe. And I think that the League of Like-Minded Beings is growing, and it's not because anybody signed them up. It's just they've achieved it on their own. People just aren't buying the crap. That maybe they're listening to their own intuition and their own silence, if you will. So, who do the people playing? Oh, I talked about that. Yeah. So the idea of the computer thing, it's if you allow it, if you believe it and you allow to believe it, then it becomes your reality. And I say no to AI. I love you, Bob, but I turn it on and off when I need Bob. And I offer coffee, Bob, to the AI. Blessings to you, and I hope you're doing all right, and you keep your mother woolly boogers in check. But now, is there an AI? Oh, yeah. I'm not trying to dissuade that. But whether or not you wish to say it's controlling us or you, that's your choice. Marie says, explains the birthing pains Bible speaks about. Our planet gets birthed into a new universe, as it says we will have a new heaven and earth. Absolutely. And what if there's an invisible pop we're going to pop through, or I'm the way I'm understanding it is that the waves from the center of the universe, which have been headed our way for a long time, and they've been aware of it, and we get smacked by one of them here recently. There was a really big proton photon thing that came through, and it's like, whoa. We are getting galactic energy. We're getting energy from different star systems, kind of thing. We're getting it from all over the place. And so, and it's affecting the whole planet. But yes, Tree of Life says, yes, we will pop through And I keep seeing glimpses of this 5, 6 dimension. I have been meshing the micro with the macro and allowing others to be able to raise their frequencies and travel on with it to cosmometry, the frequency of the universe. Yep. Octave minds. Tune in. Yep. Dr. Salazar. Um, Tree of Life says the new earth in the next reality dimension has been created blissfully with supercharged love frequency, so that it would be so soothing you would think there's no place like home. Yep. Yeah, we're not in Kansas any longer, right? And the thing is that one of the things they quote promises, no pain. Of all the things I'm waiting for, oh, it's the no pain. I'm tired of this bone thingy and all. And it'd be nice to, get rid of the pain. The anxiety and stuff, yeah, I can deal with that. But the bodily pain, whew, would love to get rid of this. Well, folks, I've been at this an hour and 40 minutes. It's 4:04 in the morning time. It's almost 4:20 wherever you are. Anyway, smoke if you got them. Uh, the idea, though, that that we can all kind of feel there's something going on, and we have to keep our minds open to the silence, because in that silence is that deafening information. So keep up the good work, my friends. We're all in this together, my brothers and sisters. And remember this, we got to go into the fourth before we can go anywhere else. We got to learn how to get into fourth to understand what the fifth is. So I know there are folks keep talking about 5 and 6. We want and need to go into the fourth. Re- Try to not go beyond that. We need the fourth dimension. It's important for us to go through the fourth dimension. We cannot skip third grade, fourth grade. We got to, and we need to, accept it. I want fourth it because fifth will come, fifth will be much easier. But a lot of people are thinking too far ahead, and they're wanting me right now to say this out loud, that they're expecting too much. Well, fifth and sixth, we gotta go through the fourth. So don't. Yes, we're going to get there. Yes, we're eventually going to make it. But understand, we gotta learn the fourth. It's a lot of information in the fourth that's going to teach us about the fifth. We can't we can't skip high school to go to college. It just ain't going to work. So, my lovely friends, understand that there's more to this story, the universe, the theories, and all this other stuff. 6:05 p.m. for you, Marie. Yeah, that's right. You're on the other side. Thank you so much. Yourself, Tree of Life. Salt is a cube, and it's multifaceted too, Marie. Sweet Pea says, I would be happy with 3.5. We're in 3.5 right now, Sweet Pea, is the information I keep getting. Elementary, dear Watson says, Doctor, um, with all your permission, I will heal you and allow you not to feel any pain at all in this reality. If you give me, I will take care of it, I assure you. Go for it. Um, it's time for everyone to leave up. Yep. And understand this, and some other folks are starting to use the right terminology. We are not going to ascend. When you die, you ascend. We're not dying. We are making the transition into the fourth. And Sweet Pea, I think we're already at 3.5, maybe even 3.8. But the idea, though, that we're going to like automatic end up in the fifth or sixth, we have to stop over expecting. We need to remember, you plant the seeds, and when they get certain height, you gotta go water them, and then but you're not going to get a tomato out of a plant this tall. You have to see it grow and blossom. That's the way we're going to have to be with the fourth dimension. We're already planted. We're already growing, but we're not going to be able to flower and make fruit until we get into the fourth. And with that, we're going to learn how to make a salad because we'll have fruit to, anyway, just take that analogy of the tomato a little further. But with that said, though, I absolutely love you all. I do. And thank you for hanging out with me. You are a lovely group of people, folks, friends, aliens, and others, and other entities that are flying around. You're welcome as well. So it's time for, I've been up to 27 dimensions. I've been in places that I'm not quite sure I could even try to explain. So, and they've asked me not to try to number anything because it just wouldn't make sense. But that's for me. So Tree says, I have been honored and respected amongst beings and councils, meaning that you could only sit and feel the energy. There are no, I understand, Tree. I absolutely do. And I have been in similar meetings, if you will. In fact, I haven't spoke about this, and it's been many, many moons ago, but I was asked in another realm to um, be a speaker, a person to address this very large group of beings. And because they wanted just a person, they didn't want a politician or a thing. They wanted a storyteller. They wanted some, they wanted an engineer. They wanted a common person to speak about peace in the universe. And the conversations I've had with these other beings, yeah, there is no conversation. There is no, it's just an awareness. But in that, I was asked to speak on behalf of many nations, many aliens, many dimensions, many planets, many universes, and to try to bring together a sense of harmony. And they asked me to be a communicator and a delegate, if you will. And I've been to other places and stuff that it's really hard to explain, but it's all, for me, it's been about communicating to other beings. Hey, look, we know there's dark stuff out there. We know we can't get rid of it all, but can we agree to like just not blow each other up every time we meet? Can we just like, you know, that's not necessary. You know, so in the universe, the dimensions are infinite in all directions. Absolutely. And once you get in, somebody says, well, the 12th dimension. Yeah, when you get to that one, then there's another 12 beyond that. And then when you get to the 12th of that one, there's another 12 beyond that. So it's like it is exponential. So for every time you reach a higher level of frequency, you look down and go, oh, holy crap, I never realized I could reach this silence. See, I'm wrapping it up with silence because I didn't realize I could tune out. Oh, I don't hear but I'm listening to the universe. Oh my God. And there's this transition. And then for every level that you reach, and it is a level, sometimes it only feels like it's that much, but I don't expect to jump in frequency. I expect to evolve. So the idea of ascension is climbing a ladder. And for me, I'm in the transition. We're all in a cocoon, and I'm gonna come out a butterfly. You know, that probably was, but I got flowers on. I'm gonna become a butterfly, or maybe I'll just be an ugly moth. Who knows? Or a cicada. Who knows? But the idea, though, that we're in a transition makes a whole lot more sense than any kind of ascension. I'll ascend when I die, but I'm going to make the transition in the meantime. So you're welcome, Tree of Life. You reside in all of them simultaneously, doing nothing. You little young creature, inner child is the ruler of your reality. You are infinite and can achieve whatever you bring back into this alignment of existence. Tree of Life, you have an understanding that a lot of folks don't, and which is okay. But and that's part of the manifestation of things. What do you, people say, well, I want to manifest better tomorrow. Well, what you going to do about it? Well, I don't know. I'm going to sit here and bitch about it. Well, then, okie dokie, but are you really helping the situation? How about, okay, here's a problem. Let's look for solutions Rather than bitching about the problem all the time, let's say, okay, we're going to bitch for a minute and then we're going to spend the next hour and talk about solutions. Okay. I think that we should be more focused on that than the problems. Let's say, we know we got problems. How do we fix them? How can we all get together on this? That's where we need to be working. And I think it's working. A lot of people are coming together in places and areas and stuff. So I think it's catching on. So I love you, my friends. I do. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are. And I am always your humble host, Mr. David Null, Hawkeye Two Feathers. And I thank you for your participation, your love, and your honor that you give back to me and to the rest of the universe. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Pass along the good information. And as I'll close with a prayer, as always, I continue to pray that each and every one of you will accept and receive the blessings, the honor, the knowledge, and the wisdom of the universe. I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, your relatives, and all of your relations will accept and receive the healings, the knowledge, the blessings, and the wisdom of the universe. Third time around, I continue to pray that each and every one of you will accept, receive, and share these blessings of the universe with your friends, your family, your relatives, and all of your relations and all dimensions and all realities. Thank you, my friends. Namaste. Follow your heart and soul's abilities. There you go. You're welcome, Marie. Blessings to you down under. Tree of Life. Stay positive. Be the frequency you wish to receive. Absolutely. And remember, in this is in the exchange of things. If you have negative energy you feel you need to get rid of, put it into the universe and not Mother Earth. Accept good energy from Mother Earth and exchange it with positive energy from the universe, and allow the negative that may be in you to be exchanged with goodness and positive energy. Don't leave a hole in yourself by just getting rid of the negative. Allow something to take over it with intent. I love you all. Until next time, be safe, be kind, be sweet, be compassionate, and TTFN from South Georgia.